Namaste, Namaskaram, Vanakkam, Namo Namaha, Jai Ganesha. Please visit our website at classicalyoga.org, and there is a donate button if you would like to help us out. And please stand up for the Hindu, yoga, religious, spiritual, scientific, philosophical lifestyle. It's all of those things. So in commemoration of this year's Navaratri, 2023, it takes guts and humility to realize one's divinity. Now, importantly, when we speak of divinity here, we're not speaking about the capital G.O.D, God, which is a specifically Christian term. Yes, divinity comes from a Latin root, but it's really referring to a sense of spirituality, either external and or internal. And of course, as Hindus, we see this as both internal and external. Antar Jyotir Bahir Jyotihi. The light within, the light without. So why do we say it takes guts? Well, flat out, it takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of soul searching. It takes a lot of mental thought. It takes a lot of debate sometimes, a lot of criticism to really pursue a profound religious life. And remember, when we say religion, we're talking about the various religious or traditions around the world. Not any one specific religion, and certainly not simply the monotheistic religions. But remember, English is our common language, so that's the word that's used to recognize the various traditions of the world. And what do they have in common? They're all seeking to understand, hence the word religio, to bind or to link. To understand what links, binds, holds an individual together, societies together, life together. And for better or for worse, this is what we're all trying to do. This is why in a true religious search, it should be, or have no conflict with science at all, because science simply means to know or seeking to know, and that's really what we should all be doing. Of course, when we get stuck in ironclad theologies, if you will, and remember that's really monotheism, theos, God, which is not Hinduism. But Hindu philosophies, Hindu beliefs can also be rigid and not well thought out. So it behooves all of us that we constantly keep an open mind and be willing to change our views and when new discoveries come along, and not be so stuck in any one specific way of thinking. However, when we do find something that is profound and works and seems to be rather true across the board, well, then we hold on to that, of course. So we all know the older we get, it takes willpower, it takes guts to get through life. You know, as children, everything's pretty much taken care of for us if we've hopefully had a good life with good parents. Right? Obviously, not everybody has that, and they have to start off their life kind of in a hole, if you will. They have poor parenting. But the older we get, and especially when we get out of the house, it really takes a lot of willpower, it takes a lot of guts to make it through life, and we can't be afraid. We can't be afraid to make mistakes. We can't be afraid to challenge our ideas, our opinions, which is the meaning of the word dogma, of course, and we all have those. Right? Not be willing always to challenge our beliefs and admit when we're wrong. This takes a lot of guts, G.U.T. And now let's look at this from the science point of view, the physicist's point of view. Gut is the grand unified theory, which leads to the T.O.E principle, hence the humility part. It takes guts and humility to make it through life. T.O.E becomes the acronym for the theory of everything. Very profound to look at this. So we're going to look at something that we've often talked about. We talk about the physics principles of gravity, electricity, and magnetism. Beautiful acronym, the GEM principle. In other words, to uncover the gem that's within all of us, we need to understand gravity, electricity, and magnetism. And this is within us as well as without us, or outside of us. So gravity is from the navel down, if you will. Electricity is at the heart, isn't it? That's the electric motor of the heart that propels the human body. And what happens when people have heart problems? They get an electrical stimulation at the heart. So electricity at the heart. And then the magnetic head. So gravity, electricity, magnetism. Look how this works in life itself. As we get to know ourselves, we get to know our body. And in Hinduism, obviously, we explore this with the chakras. So from the Muladhara, Svadhisthana, Manipura, that's all gravity. That's grounding. That's memory. That's reasoning. That's using our willpower, all those foundational qualities. And then the electricity of the heart. This is the love, isn't it, at the heart? That's why we draw hearts to represent love, because it's an electric feeling. And then we go into the magnetic head. And so we also, in Hinduism, correlate this with our deities, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, and it really provides a complete understanding and a strong visual of working with gravity, electricity, magnetism within us, and then outside of us also, and then as Hindus within our religion. So we've talked about this many times, and we have podcasts on this, which you can go back over, as we understand gravity, electricity, magnetism in the basically 3 sampradayas of Hinduism. Just briefly, Saiva Hindus worship Ganesh, Muruga, Shiva, Shakti. See how it works? Gravity, electricity, magnetism. Ganesh is always gravity. The elephant, of course. And then Muruga, Skanda, his brother, represents the electricity at the heart. And then the magnetic head, the deity head, Siva and Parvati. And then for the Vaishnava Hindus, they would do Ganesha, Krishna, Vishnu, Lakshmi, same thing, gravity, electricity, magnetism, or Ganesha, Hanuman at the heart, and then Sitaram at the head. Now in the Shakti Sampradaya, there's really 2 profound ways of looking at this. You have from the bottom up, just like we've been doing, you have Durga Ma. Ganesha's understood, gravity. You have Durga, gravity, riding Bengal the tiger. Then you have the electricity of the heart, Ma Lakshmi. And notice she holds the Amritam in her heart, not the money, not the other way around. The Amritam at the heart, that's the electricity of the heart. And money is very electric, isn't it, for most people? And then the deity head there would be Saraswati, the mother of knowledge and speech. But in the Shakti Sampradaya, here we go now with a profound understanding of physics itself and the gut principle, the grand unified theory, because we also, notice we've been going from the ground up, obviously, because that's where we are. We're here now. Through evolution, we're at this very point. But we can also project back into the past from where we came, which is actually happening right now, if you think about it. So we go way back into the past to before creation, then creation, and then through billions of years of evolution to where you and I are right now, this very moment. Look around you. The body you have taken on, the clothes you wear, the surroundings that are all around you. Look out, the evolution that's happened, right? That's Parvati, the refinement, the evolution of life. It took billions of years to get here, but here we are. So we have Kali from before creation. Then the Big Bang is represented by Ma Durga. Look at her. She looks like a Big Bang with her many arms, many colors, the explosion of life, the fire itself, the Big Bang. And then, so that was what, 13 some billion years ago? And then only a few 100,000 years ago, here we come as the evolutionary creatures that you and I are, represented by the epitome of femininity and evolution and creation is Ma Parvati. So Kali, Durga, Parvati. Before creation, the Big Bang, and then through evolution to where we are right now. So let's go back. Mother Kali, the blackness, before creation. This is the grand unified theory when it was just electromagnetic energy. That's all there was. And we know from science that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So right away we get the profound understanding that there's no creator, because creation just is. There are creators within creation, of course, but there's no creator. Hence, this debunks the whole notion of God as the one male creator being, or goddess, one female creator being. That's a search in vain, if you will. But it provides comfort for many people. But it's something that we often grow out of the more we expand our consciousness into the absoluteness. And we go into that experience before creation every night when we go into the no thingness, the blackness. So that gut theory, the grand unified theory of just pure electromagnetic energy, and gravity didn't exist there. There was no need for it. That hadn't come on the scene yet. Gravity came on the scene in the split second of the Big Bang of creation. So from this pre-creation nothingness, pure electricity and magnetism, and they're essentially two aspects of the same thing, because as soon as you change an electrical field, it creates a magnetic field and vice versa. So that's why they're always paired together, electromagnetic forces from that pure, which is what we also use the word sat in Sanskrit in Hinduism, pure consciousness, the pure electromagnetic energy, actually before thought, just pure existence itself, pure consciousness without being conscious of it. That pure electromagnetic energy. And then when creation happens, the split second of the Big Bang, now we have gravity, and then we have the full formula of gravity, electricity, and magnetism. And now the physicists amplify the gut principle into the T.O.E principle. So beautiful, these acronyms. And T.O.E becomes now the theory of everything. Now, this is when we incorporate gravity. Now we have the whole theory: gravity, electricity, magnetism. And this is really not to be overlooked, because this really gives us a profound understanding of how to live our life. Here we are with gravity. That's the weakest force, as strong as it is. That's how strong the other two forces are. Electricity and then magnetism. And then, of course, there's the nuclear forces. So with gravity, we understand the importance in living our life with a grounding, a foundation. This is why ethics comes first. It's ethical codes of conduct, which is just about life in general. Hopefully this is something our parents taught us as children, right? Is what to do and what not to do. This is ethics, ethical codes. Just follow us through life, through schooling, on the job. There are ethical codes of conduct. And it's not a coincidence then that all religions also have their ethical codes of conduct. Of course, they have to make sense. And sometimes they have to be refined or changed a little bit. But this is just life itself. Even the animals, they have certain codes of conduct. They have hierarchies. They understand what to do and what not to do sometimes. So gravity is first and foremost. Be a grounded person. Be a solid person. And just a little reflection shows this is what really makes life worth living. If we feel solid, we feel grounded, we feel earthy, connected to the earth, right? That's why it's so wonderful to, every once in a while, kick off your shoes. And this is why we Hindus still maintain this, because in Hindu homes, we don't wear shoes. Maybe you have some indoor sandals you wear, and certainly in our Hindu temples, no one wears shoes there. So we're keeping that connection. And it's nice once in a while, because obviously we're stepping on marble and tile and concrete, etc. But it's wonderful sometimes just to get those bare feet on the earth itself. This is why it's so nice if you're fortunate enough to live next to a beach, when you can spend some time at the beach and get your bare feet in the sand. Great exercise for the arches. But this grounding sense, and we take that mentally and emotionally also, physically grounded, mentally, emotionally, which is really what makes life worth living. If we're not grounded, if we don't have a sense of self-esteem, if we don't have a sense of ethics, remember, this was Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. You have to have a sense of safety, a sense of grounding, a sense of self-esteem and self-actualization and physiological needs, taking care of your physiological needs, food, clothing, shelter. All this is gravity. And then with a good foundation, now we apply the electricity, right? At the heart, the loving heart, the devotion, without which we really don't accomplish anything in life. That loving devotion for ourself, our family, our friends, our spouse, our job, sports, religion. That loving devotion that helps us to accomplish any task. And obviously we have a task in mind. We're seeking something. Remember, if we say we're seekers, we must be seeking something. So we have a belief in a goal, in something that we're seeking. That's the magnetic head. So this principle of gravity, electricity, and magnetism, which is part of the T.O.E principle, takes humility, like the T.O.E. That's why we bow to the feet in Hinduism. So it takes a certain sense of humility to understand these teachings and then to apply them in our life. So that we seek a grounding, and then we seek to live an electric life in a good way. Obviously, we can get too electrified, if you will. Too many Red Bulls are not good. Even one, I don't think I've ever had one, but I like my cup of coffee in the morning. I'm sure many of you do too, but we have to be careful about getting too overcharged. That's not good for the nervous system. So we use that electricity in a positive way, and certainly we see as humans how we do some really stupid things. Look how people get addicted to cocaine. That's, electricity on steroids, and we don't want that. So we use that electricity, and then we're drawn to goals, and we need goals in life. Right? We need aspirations. This is the magnetic head. Gravity, electricity, magnetism. Other religions, they can make their own analogies for this, but this is the beauty of the Hindu sampradayas. And we're focusing now on the Shakti sampradaya with the mothers, and we get this profound understanding of both where we are now and how to proceed. We use our foundation. This would be Durga Ma with Ganapati. Ganesha is always first. He's the grounding. Look at an elephant. Try to knock an elephant over. Beautiful symbolism of grounding. So Durga Ma, and then the electricity at the heart, Lakshmi, and then Saraswati, the magnetic head. But then also we have that profound understanding where we go actually every night in the depths of sleep. That's the magic and the mysticism of sleep when we go into no thangness. Nobody knows what's going on there. But something's going on. It's subtle energy. That's why the creation just is, right? It just becomes more and more subtle to manifest and back again. So we wake up from that deep sleep. One day we won't, but then we'll just continue on in another form as creation just continues on. So from the absoluteness of Mahakali, and this is also represented by the Shiva Lingam by itself, the black ellipsoid, the black lingam, which is the eye of the cosmos, the black hole, that nothingness, which is the fullness of everything. So you see, even though we speak of prior to the Big Bang, within the Big Bang there's also the nothingness. So it's before, it's within, and when it's all over again. That's why it's the all-encompassing blackness. Right? And profoundly look into each other's eyes. And your animals also. We all have a black hole. We all have that prior to creation right there at the center. Look into the black hole in the center of your eye, and it's there we unify, bye-bye. Nothing to say at that point. That's the absolute peace, the absolute no thing, of which we cannot speak. Yatovacho nivartanteya prapyas manasa saha. And it's called the pupil. So at that level, let's all be a good one and keep our mouths shut. Tat sat. Remember, for all our Advaita Vedanta friends out there. And remember, please, look, we're Hindus. There's many synonyms, but don't divide. Don't say you're a Vedantist and not a Hindu. Don't say you're a Sanatanist but not a Hindu. You're just falling into the trap of the invaders, divide and conquer. We're Hindus. Also known as Rita Dharma, Vedic Dharma, Yoga Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, Brahmanism, Hinduism, the Hindu religion, within which we have Saivites, Vaishnavites, Shaktites. But we're Hindus. Be proud to be a Hindu. So for the Advaita Vedantins out there, right, like being a good pupil, know when to keep our mouth shut, a lesson in non-duality. Get the point? Now, by definition, this black hole at the eye is the aperture that admits and regulates the flow of light, thus perceiving, Durga-like, blossom out into the unique, flowering colors of the iris. Just like there's no two snowflakes alike, no two fingerprints alike, no two eyes alike. Eye recognition. Amazing, amazing, amazing. The beautiful eyes of Meenakshi, Parvati envision prosperity, Ma Lakshmi, and Ma Saraswati. So on this Navaratri, ask yourself, do I have guts? Do I have humility? Do I see the similarity within all things? Do I recognize the important difference in all things? This is actually the binary system, recognizing the zero and then the one manyness that is life. Remember, as soon as you have one, you have duality, one and not one. Life is a multiplicity, a duplicity, sometimes a multiplicity, triality, quadrupality. So 0 and 1 actually makes life compute. And remember, it was the Hindus that came up with the numeral 0. If we were stuck in Roman numerals, we'd still have a very linear, limited way of viewing the world itself. And beyond, because remember, by its very name, monotheism refers to a one deity, a one way. And again, one doesn't exist except as an indicator. But as soon as we have creation, we have the multiplicity that is life. So for example, just think with the monotheistic religions, which actually trace back to Zoroaster and his belief in the one deity, Ahura Mazda, and the one scripture, the Ameshpentas. And obviously with the emergence of Judaism, you had the one deity, Yahweh, and the one scripture, the Torah. Then the Christians come along and you have the one God, Jesus, and the one book, affectionately the Old Testament, but more importantly the New Testament. And then finally, the third of the monotheistic traditions, you have Islam with the one deity, Allah, his one prophet, Muhammad, and the one book, the Quran. So at this point one has to ask, will the real one deity and one book, quote unquote, please stand up? We see the problem. Yahweh bless, God Jesus bless, Allah bless, can create a man-made mess. So of course all religions are human-made. All the things that we experience as humans that come out of our creative impulses, and of course they're all human-made. Fine, there's no problem with that. It's what we do with that. Do we seek to refine our knowledge, or do we simply get stuck in erroneous concepts? Nothing wrong with basic truths that we all agree upon. But when we get stuck in erroneous concept, this is when it takes guts to pull out of that. It takes humility, the gut principle and the toe principle. Seeing the similarity of the electromagnetic energy that is life itself. That flows through all of us. And of course, while living on Bhumimata, planet Earth, we can't defy gravity, except for a few moments, perhaps when you're in astronaut training, when they have special places where they go into anti-gravity, when they fly these planes and they temporarily float. So here's a similarity that we can all experience and appreciate as human beings. We have this electromagnetic energy inside of us. And that energy becomes heat. And that heat is warmth. And then having now human emotions, that warmth translates into an inner feeling of bliss or love, if you will. Consider that love is a warm experience as opposed to saying a person is cold, for example, frigid, unloving. So here's a similarity that we can all agree upon, which is science, just life itself. We have these inner experiences of pure energy, electromagnetic energy, pure consciousness. Hindus call this Sat. And then we have the sense of inner light, in the sense of a feeling, and also illumination itself. The illumination of the world around us, and the inner illumination that produces our inner visions, our dreams. The seeing of stars when we get knocked on the head. So we all share these things in common. We have this pure energy, this electromagnetic energy. We have a feeling at times of lightness, hopefully more than not, as opposed to feeling heavy and down and depressed. And we may close our eyes and have various visions, or maybe even see various aspects of light. And then we all have a human feeling of inner bliss and satisfaction and love and joy. So here's a great similarity. But it takes guts to do this, to recognize these inner qualities. And then it also takes humility and compassion to understand that all of our fellow human beings will express these inner qualities of, we could say, love, light, and energy in various specific ways in the secular world and in the religious world, to be respected. This inner wisdom would humbly help to avoid many of the problems that we have, but this is obviously an ongoing experience. Thank goodness we do have evolution or reincarnation. Remember, that simply means to take on one form after another. This is the evolutionary process that is life. This is life. As we, as an individual, continue to change form physically, mentally, and emotionally. And if you don't believe that, just go to a high school reunion, your 50th or 60th high school reunion, and see if you recognize anybody. The same inner beingness is there, but the outer being or form obviously changes. So to our fellow Hindus out there, enjoy this Navaratri time. And remember, when we have these utsavas, these festivals, we are highlighting these features, but keep them with you all through the year. So don't make Ganesh Chaturthi just one day. Make it all through the year. Even though we're now focusing on Navaratri, bring the wisdom of the Matajis into your beingness all throughout the year. And remember, it was the monotheistic religions that excelled, quote unquote, in extreme patriarchy. And obviously, we're totally discounting the other half of creation, which is the female. So that's why in the Hindu yoga dharma, we always give praise to both in the material and the spirit realm, the male and the female. Shiva Shakti or Shiva Parvati, Vishnu Devi, Sitaram, Radha Krishna. So for the most part, humanity, we all respect our mothers, whether we're born a male or a female. We recognize that great sacrifice and being born from the Mataji, the mother, the creator in that very real sense. So praise to our matas and our pitas, our mothers and our fathers. Praise to the feminine forces of life and the masculine forces of life. Remembering, of course, that there are two genders, but within all of us we do have masculine and feminine characteristics. This becomes evident in the image of Dakshinamurti, or Shiva and Parvati, coming together in one form, recognizing whether we're a man or a woman, our masculine and feminine characteristics. This understanding would go a long way to alleviating much of the problems and confusions that we see today in transgender people. For example, a man who is experiencing more of his feminine nature is simply doing that. And vice versa, a woman who is experiencing more of her masculine nature is simply doing that. So in the Hindu Yoga Dharma, we understand this with the two hemispheres of the brain, the Pingala and the Ida, the masculine and the feminine, so that whether we are a man or a woman in this incarnation, we seek to incorporate the positive or uplifting qualities, if you will, of both the masculine and the feminine, and get rid of the negative qualities. Something to think about at this Navaratri time, as we do praise the mother, and the mother outside of us, and for all of you men, the mother inside of you. So again, whether we're a man or a woman, we want to be positively masculine, analytical, logical, rational, thinking creatures. This is where religion comes in with rules, regulations, and rituals, all important aspects of life. And avoiding the negative masculine tendencies of being hard and crude and mean and intolerant and religious fanaticism, religious extremism, which we don't want. Keep religion, but not the extremism. And then again, whether we're a man or a woman, we want to incorporate the positive female qualities, being soft, intuitive, gentle, creative, spontaneous, This is the more spiritual nature that goes beyond the words into the realm of pure experience, which, remember, that is the realm of spirit or soul, if you will. It's incorporeal. It's not the body. And as Hindus, we use the word Atmana, so it's not the mind either. So literally no body can be spiritual. See how we incorporate both hemispheres? So it's the left brain that's the rules and the regulations and the rituals that help us to have the experience, the right brain. So that's how religion and spirituality should harmoniously work together, creating a balanced individual, a balanced life. As Hindus, we would say a sattvic life, a balance of, or equilibrium. That's why Hindus say, Twameva mata chapita twameva. Praise the mother and praise the father. So with these thoughts in mind, I hope everyone has a profound time praising the Matajis. Kali Durga Parvati, Mahalakshmi Saraswati, Radharani Sitaji, Jai 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 Mataji. And as an important correction, it is the form of Ardhinarishvara, not Dakshinamurti, that is the bringing together of the male and the female within the one body. Ardhinarishvara, half woman, half man in one form, the left and right brain. But interestingly, Dakshinamurti, that's the form of Shiva as the silent sage, teaching through silence. When all is said and done, there's a unifying force. When we can just sit together and not say anything. Be in silence, be at peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.